Hey, what's up, guys? Good to be back with you again. And so, one of the things that people always seem to be interested in and ask about is the mentoring system here on FM23. It's the same, really, that it's been for the last little while. It's not actually in tactics, it's over here in training. So, the way that this works, though, first off, is you want to look at your squad and have an idea of who you want to be mentors and how you want to set this up, right? So, we got this guy, PanSa East. Now, I don't know if he has any sort of like actual characteristics or anything that we like other than being a good leader. This is the sort of guy who we kind of want to have around because of his personality, really, not because he's actually a good player. He has not played at all for us. He didn't play for Tapu Timu Youth last season either. So he really is a guy to have on the bench for purposes like mentoring. The reason why I'm thinking about doing this before I set it up is because we have the other Maele, Toao Maele. Where are you, Toao? Somewhere here on the list. There he is. And the unfortunate thing about him is that he's got a fickle personality, and it would be nice if we could do something. Maybe we can't change his personality that much, but to at least get his professionalism up a little bit, right? He's a really good player otherwise. So, again, we go over to training, not to tactics, and we go over to mentoring. We're going to create a new group. We're just going to call this Maele. Now, the thing about this group is that we have to have 3 players in it, right? You don't want to ask the assistant to assign because the assistant doesn't know what he's doing. We're going to put Atu in this as well. So we'll have Atu and then this Maele, and then we'll put the other Maele as well. And we'll take a look and we'll see what comes out here once we've added these 3. Yeah, so the estimated significant effect from group for Toa Maele is exactly what we want. He has a significant effect from the group. Maele and Atu are probably not going to influence each other that much, but my guess is that the little of influence they'll have on the group will end up rubbing off a lot on Maele, which is a good thing, and that's kind of what we want to see happen. We could, in theory, add other players to this group, right? We have a guy who's temperamental, we have these guys who are unambitious, and so on and so forth. I'm going to actually keep it really, really simple this time around. And there are a couple of reasons for that. One of the reasons why is that when you look over here at the club hierarchy, you can see that, I mean, we do have, so Kalliope has got a leader personality. That might be somebody we want to be a good mentor, but the rest of these balanced guys, I don't really want them to be strong mentors. I want somebody who has high professionalism so that we can increase the professionalism of the squad. And so that's one of the reasons why. And the other reason, of course, is that we don't have any real team leaders or highly influential players. Those are the sort of players who are going to wind up having a real strong influence over others in the mentoring group, right? The reason why you're not going to see me use the model citizen, not Atu. Atu's perfectly fine, but this Maele, PanSa Maele, that much, is the fact that he's just not a very good player, right? He does not have the required ability or potential. He comes listed here as the 6th best striker. I mean, Danny Nusila ends up listed higher than him on the striker list. This guy, Paneta Toa, is on our under-18s team. Here's a spoiler alert for you. He's the only under-18s player that we have because of the way that I decimated the squad. He's resolute. This guy, 16 years old, is going to be a really good player, and even he, right now, today, is looking better than PanSa Maele in terms of striker potential. The only reason why Maele is on this squad is to be a mentor and is to try to get the overall squad professionalism to be up and to be higher. So that's basically the way it works. You go over to training, you go to mentoring, and you identify the players you want in the group. You have to have at least 3. Usually, I think the thing that works the best is to have a player that you want to be the target, in this case Maele, and then put in 1 or 2 players who have attributes that you want to carry over to Maele. This guy, Lama Atu, I talk about him a lot. This guy's going to be absolutely incredible with that personality and with his abilities and with his leadership so far. This guy is going to be a superstar for this club, and I'm really happy we got him from the Tafuna Jets, who never played him. 8.6 rating so far and only 3 appearances, 4 assists and 1 goals. So we're going to be just fine. And it'd be good for these guys also to become as part of the same social group eventually. I don't know what impact mentoring has on the social groups, so I imagine that over time it probably has a good impact. We could use some of that because we have players in different social groups and some players who are kind of like all over the place and all this stuff. The more that they play together and the more they get along together, the better off they're going to be. If you watched before, back in the BYU save, I had all the players in a single social group. This is in large part because we couldn't hire players because of the stupid restrictions, and we didn't have any reason to get rid of any players, and so they just hung around forever, and after a season or 2, they will all end up being in the same social group if you do it the right way and if you don't have any really stupid or crazy things going on in the squad. So basically, that's the way that it works. This is how you make it so that your players are all in the same social group. By the way, some other things you might want to notice here is that the color down underneath these players will tell you how influential they are. You can can click on players and find out more about their influentiality. On an earlier video, somebody told me, I didn't know this, but you can click on yourself here and see if the players support you or not. All the players have no real opinion of me. Nobody opposes me, which is good. But yeah, they don't necessarily have huge support for the manager. They're just satisfied with the work I'm doing, and the support is average. So whatever, good enough. Good enough for halfway through the season. But anyway, that's the way you do it. Now, when it comes to these mentoring groups and training, you need to know what impact this is going to have. The attributes of these players will be heavily impacted. The thing that you're trying to get improved is usually going to be the professionalism, the ambition, or the determination of a young player, because those are the three things that have the biggest influence over how that player develops. Right? That's what you really want to have happen, and that's the reason why the personalities are so important. If you have a player who's a model citizen, he's going to have very, very high marks in all three of those: good determination, good ambition, and good professionalism. You want that player to have a really strong influence on others in the squad. If you have a player who's unambitious or who's slack or something, they probably have really bad professionalism and certainly really bad ambition. You don't want that to happen. That's a real frustrating thing, because if players end up not taking their job seriously in the game, they just simply won't develop. And so you want to get that professionalism really as high as you possibly can. If you do that, you'll be fine. And when you create mentoring groups, you want to look for players that have personalities indicative of a high professionalism, stuff like professional, very professional, something like that. Those are the sort of players who you want to have leading your mentoring groups and really leading your squad. It'll happen and it'll come. It might take a little while. You have to be patient. Sometimes it takes a season or two, but it'll happen if you set it up right. That's it for me. Talk with you later. Bye-bye.